177 miles from this very studio in Naples is the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. It's just over a 3-hour drive, but the brutal tragedy that took place there hits close to home for many of us here. In this week's show, we'll look backward and forward in Pulse Plus One. And a year ago this weekend, we interviewed local stakeholders representing religious affiliations and sexual orientations. They weighed in on the Pulse shootings. This week, we go back for a fresh perspective.
Yes, this one appeared to be targeted to the LGBT community, but anything like that can happen anywhere, and it does.
Then, regaining a sense of balance, we'll take you along with an exercise class that takes workouts to the great outdoors. We'll have those stories along with the latest in our Positively Healthy Medical series. I'm Amy Osher, and this is Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. Thanks for joining us. It was a Sunday morning much like this one a year ago, only we woke up to news that the nation's deadliest mass shooting took place just up the road. Our reporters and photographers recently traveled back, chronicling Pulse Plus One for the USA Today network.
Orange County with the transfer is going to be in reference to a shooting at Pulse nightclub.
The officers don't know how many suspects there are, who's shooting at who.
And everyone around me just starts dropping. The glass of the bar starts shattering.
People were running and I lowered the music and then I realized, something really was happening.
Nunca había sentido como ese dolor tan grande.
You can say that you feel what we feel, but you don't. You have to go through what we went through, so you really know what we went through, to feel what we feel.
We were all deeply impacted by the tragedy at Pulse. Gay, straight, white, Latino, doesn't matter.
You can't fathom a place that you consider safe and a place where you can go be yourself and just have a good time. It's like something like this could happen there.
I think, first off, what I want the world to know is that Orlando is still healing and that the families and survivors here have not moved on.
Ryan Mills was our eyes and ears on the ground in Orlando, and you were there immediately following the shootings a year ago.
Yeah, I got sent up that morning. I was mowing my lawn and I got the call that we needed to go up there, and I was up there by mid-afternoon and interviewing people who were looking for their loved ones and looking for their friends that they just didn't know where they were. And how would you kind of categorize the scene? Was it chaotic at that time? When we first got there, yeah. I mean, where I went was they had, next to the hospital, they had all of the people who were looking for their loved ones in a hotel. And they were all gathered there, and it was flooded with national media reporters and local media reporters and TV and newspapers from around the world. And those people were trying to touch base with these people who were looking for their loved ones. I mean, they were, some people would come out and have conversations with the media because they wanted to get their loved one's name and face out there. It was heartbreaking. Other people didn't want anything to do with it. And I imagine while you were there, the course of that time, the news was coming out and you're realizing really the magnitude of the tragedy. Yeah, I think, again, it was a year ago, but I think we kind of had a grasp on how big it was in terms of the number of dead and the number of injured, at least at that time. But it really kind of hit you. I think the two things that hit me were just the number of people who were looking for their loved ones. I mean, it was just this massive number of people who didn't know what was happening. They may have been getting ideas of how many people were killed or injured, but they didn't know if their loved one was one of those. The other thing that I took note of was just how big of a media response it was. It was just amazing. I mean, there was people from around the world. Yeah, on a Sunday morning, too. Everybody probably rocked out of their normalcy like you were. Yeah, and I mean, I was there with reporters from Vietnam. I remember walking to a press conference with a reporter from Vietnam who needed help trying to find the hospital. it was just pretty amazing.
There were a lot of moving parts. Now going back again a year later, or approximately a year later, what did you see maybe that was different?
What we've gotten from a lot of people was that Orlando that day really came together. There was unity that developed that day, and over that, and we talked to people about that. We said, you know, does it still exist? And they almost all said yes. I mean, that unity still exists a year later. That people that necessarily weren't friends or even colleagues or they didn't work together on the same issues, they know each other better now, and they have each other's phone numbers, and they talk, and they communicate, and there's just this unity that at least the people we talked to felt still exists a year later.
Sure, and it's also worth noting that they had a workplace shooting this week that may have brought back some memories. You kept hearing the connection, though, that it's almost on the year anniversary of this mass shooting. While they weren't related at all, do you think it triggered maybe a little bit of a kind of pent-up emotion for people?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I can't speak for them. I wasn't there. I wasn't, I didn't talk to obviously different set of people, completely different circumstances, but I would imagine for the mayor and the police chief and the officials, it was kind of a similar situation that they had to deal with, and it probably brought back memories of what happened a year ago. For the victims and the people who survived, they probably just hate anytime having to hear about a shooting and wondering, well, what's happening here? Is this another one?
Sure, it does kind of spark those memories. And then lastly, we have a beautiful coverage coming out today that we want people also online and in the paper, but we have a really nice online kind of element to it.
Yeah, we did interviews, like I said, with different survivors and victims and people who's lost loved ones, and we've got portraits and audio clips of them speaking. We've got video. It's going to be a really compelling piece, I think.
Great. We encourage everybody to check it out. Thanks, Ryan. While the shooting was a national tragedy, it was also a personal one. A Muslim man committed the massacre. His victims were part of the LGBT community. People in both of these groups found themselves sharing a tragic bond. A year ago, we sought perspective from a local Muslim leader and a local LGBT activist. They're back now with a fresh perspective. Abdul Haq Muhammad founded the Quality of Life Center in Fort Myers, mentoring children in the Dunbar community. He's also a recognized leader in the Muslim community. He expressed shock and concern when we met last year.
Immediately, such a tragedy brings feelings of grief, disappointment, confusion, and of course, as the name surfaced, it has a name of someone that might be a Muslim. I think Muslims all throughout the country, heart stopped for a moment.
12 months later, many of the same fears are there whenever a Muslim is linked to a terrorist act, but Muhammad is optimistic that awareness and sensitivity will overcome.
We react to the tragedy. It's hurtful, it's painful to see what's happening, whether it's in this country or locally or internationally speaking. But I still have a great deal of hope. Since that time, I've participated in numerous community efforts where there's interfaith dialogue. I've been invited to various churches and other religious and civic organizations to share thoughts and insights about Islam.
Also in June 2016, we spoke to Arlene Goldberg, a local LGBT advocate. She was still in disbelief days after the nightclub massacre.
It was just such a shock for me. I mean, it wasn't unexpected because I know things like that happen, but just the thought of a gay club, a place where we feel safe.
In the year following the shooting, Goldberg has seen small changes. People in her community now willing to stand up, be seen, and assert their rights.
That event brought the community closer together. The community was kind of scattered, and it feels like people have more of a together kind of a feeling. We had to join together at that time because it was so hurtful to all of us that now I think we're closer, and it's easy to work together now because we know we're working for the same goal.
The incident brought people together. In retrospect, understanding that anyone can be a victim.
It can happen anywhere and to anyone, as we've seen during the course of the year. Yes, this one appeared to be targeted to the LGBT community, but anything like that can happen anywhere, and it does.
Once we understand that as common citizens sharing this planet together, this country, this soil together. There are hopeful opportunities for us to get along and work together to make things better.
Coming up, as much as we enjoy the sunshine, the sun and its rays are not our friends. We're sharing what you need to know before a day at the beach in our Positively Healthy report. It's up after the break.
Broad-brimmed hats, more than 3 inches is recommended, not just a baseball hat. And if you do wear a baseball hat, that's great, but don't forget to protect your chin and your ears.
Life here is amazing, and so is the joint care. At the Total Joint Center at Physicians Regional Healthcare System, we've changed the experience of joint replacement for good. With our comprehensive joint care program, most hip and knee replacement patients return home in just 2 days, because we know you want to get on with your active life. Pain-free living starts at Physicians Regional Medical Center, Collier Boulevard, and Physicians Regional Medical Center, Pine Ridge.
Hiring the right moving company is important. Best Moving and Storage is a family-owned and operated business serving Southwest Florida for over 22 years. From our free in-home estimate until the last piece of furniture is in your new place or stored in our climate-controlled warehouse, we treat you like family. Best Moving and Storage is fully licensed and insured, with all of our employees being certified drivers and packers. When it comes to protecting your treasured belongings, choose a company that's experienced and trustworthy. Call Best Moving and Storage today at 239-592-6565.
My name is Steve Unser, and cabinetry is my specialty. I have been creating custom designed cabinetry for 20 years in Southwest Florida, and now I am celebrating the grand opening of our new Naples showroom. Steve Unser Cabinetry will help you design your kitchen, bath, or home office with stunning results, offering the best quality of cabinets with a wide variety of design options and pricing to fit any budget. If your kitchen isn't becoming to you, you should be coming to us. Now, 2 locations to serve you.
We all know to apply sunscreen before a day at the beach or any outdoor recreation, but it's what we don't know that could hurt us. In today's Positively Healthy, we're checking out hot news on sun protection. Many of us associate that sun-kissed look as the picture of health, but dermatologists would disagree. Sun exposure can leave lasting damage that may not show up for years. So it's best to go undercover, coating yourself with layers of protection.
Starting out first of all with sunscreen. It's our first layer of protection. So sunscreen is recommended SPF 30 or higher with a broad spectrum. You want to apply it to all of your exposed areas. And if you're going to be exposed more than 2 hours, you want to reapply it. And that's the part that people really forget to do.
A good sunscreen protects the skin from both UVA and UVB rays. Today's products work in a variety of ways. People with sensitive skin may opt for a blanket blocker.
Physical blockers physically block the sun. So when you apply it, the light reflects off of your skin. And those ingredients are titanium and zinc.
By contrast, chemical blockers let the sun shine in, but protect just the same.
When you put them on their skin, the light goes through the area, and then it just kind of scatters and disperses.
Even the best sunscreens may not be enough in the sunshine state. Dermatologist Jacqueline Thomas is also a fan of hats.
Broad-brimmed hats, more than 3 inches is recommended, not just a baseball hat. And if you do wear a baseball hat, that's great, but don't forget to protect your chin and your ears, because those are not going to be protected.
There's also clothing specially treated to filter out ultraviolet rays.
The garments can be helpful. Some of them have this cool weave, but the weave is thick enough that it does protect you from those harmful rays.
Finally, for those of you who thought your skin built up its own defense, think again. Is there any value or any kind of logic to getting a base tan or slowly getting a tan?
No, there isn't. That's actually a big myth out there. The less tan, the better. It's cool to be pasty these days.
For those who still crave a bronze bod, there's a glimmer of hope, a sunless tan for that sought-after glow. In case you haven't heard, high-tech medicine is going to the dogs. Specialized med centers are now offering state-of-the-art treatments and procedures for our pets. Specialty clinics are popping up nationwide, including Southwest Florida, picking up where your regular vet leaves off. Our Daily News reporter Thaddeus Mast made the rounds at Florida Veterinary Referral Center in Estero and found it much like a med center for people. Equipped to do MRIs, laparoscopic procedures, even radiation and chemotherapy for pets fighting cancer. You'll find much more in Thad's story at naplesnews.com. Our reporters are always looking for the new and interesting. Here's a look at some of the stories we're covering on the beat.
Thanks, Amy. So property values have continued to climb here in Southwest Florida. We just got preliminary estimates here from the tax appraiser's office, and Collier County is seeing about an 8% growth over last year, so that's another year of growth. The biggest growth that we're seeing right now is in East Naples and in North Naples near Golden Gate Estates. Those areas saw as high as 15% property value climbs. So that probably means property taxes will be going up for most people here in the county. We've also noticed that the new construction, value of new construction is actually a little bit down over last year. It's the only thing that's been down over last year, so that's a sign that the growth could be starting to slow. So find out more at naplesnews.com.
Hi, I'm Ashley Collins. I'm a reporter with the Collier Citizen. This past week I got a chance to work on another hashtag Southwest Florida Strong, which is a part of a series that profiles people in the community making a positive difference. And I got to go to a local Dunkin' Donuts in North Naples to speak to a mother and son. The son has Down syndrome, and they've developed this sweet relationship with a local Dunkin' Donuts morning crew. For the past 3 years, they've gone to the same Dunkin' Donuts, actually on Immokalee and Livingston, to visit them and get coffee and donuts as well. So to check out more on this story, visit naplesnews.com.
Hi, I'm Harriet Heighthouse, arts and entertainment writer for the Naples Daily News and naplesnews.com. If you wanted to go to a concert, would you go to the Southwest Florida Performing Arts Center, or would you go to the Center for Performing Arts Bonita Springs? There's a lot of name confusion among local performance venues in South Lee and Collier counties, and we take a look at it and how people are combating it this week in Naples News and naplesnews.com.
We've got one more stop in the newsroom. This time it's Brent Batten with his weekly commentary.
Thanks, Amy. As you no doubt are aware, it's National Roofing Week, a time set aside to recognize that monument to human ingenuity, the roof. And what better time for it? Southwest Florida has probably never been more grateful for the invention of the roof than it has been this week. On the occasion of National Roofing Week, the National Roofing Contractors Association reminds us that, quote, the roof is one of the most important components of a home or business structure. That is so true. The roof is one of the most important components of any structure. Walls are important, no doubt, and don't discount doors. Without doors, how do we get in and out? Floors and windows are nice, but we could probably get by without them. Roofs, clearly, are among the most important parts of a building. But the national roofing contractors are being modest by limiting the importance of the roof to just structures. Roofs have become an important part of the vernacular as well. When someone is angry, we say they hit the roof. When something is doing very well, sales for instance, we say they are through the roof. A bit of gray hair is described as having snow on the roof. Having a good time means raising the roof. Having the roof cave in signifies disaster. Having a roof over one's head is synonymous with residency. And where would peanut butter stick if not to the roof of one's mouth? I'm afraid we've all come to take the roof for granted. So let's all take time during National Roofing Week to pause and reflect on just where we'd all be this week without the roof. Outside in the rain. I'm Brent Batten. Be sure to read my columns on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays in the Naples Daily News. And as always, thanks for watching.
When we come back, a natural fix for a tired workout. That's ahead on Behind the Headlines.
It's Bear's half-off select brand sale. We're slashing prices. Everything is priced to sell. Half off plus a bonus 20% on select designs from Bernhardt, Paula Deen, Broyhill, Natuzzi, and more. $50 million of furniture and accessories ready for immediate delivery. Plus, always complimentary interior design service, too. Bear's half-off select brand sale. Final days. Don't miss it.
The area's only 30 minutes or less ER service pledge means you'll find less waiting for the care you need. And because we're full-service hospitals, a lot more care if you need it. Less waiting, faster care. Only at Physicians Regional Healthcare System.
Is your auto insurance keeping pace with your life? Ask for a AAA Triple Check Insurance Review to see if your current policy is still a good fit. An agent will assess changes in your life, like new vehicles or drivers. Make sure you've got the right coverage and all the discounts you deserve. They'll also see how a AAA membership can round out your protection on the road. Plus, provide roadside assistance, discounts, free services, and vacation extras. Ask for your AAA Triple Check today.
My name is Steve Unser, and cabinetry is my specialty. I have been creating custom designed cabinetry for 20 years in Southwest Florida, and now I am celebrating the grand opening of our new Naples showroom. Steve Unser Cabinetry will help you design your kitchen, bath, or home office with stunning results, offering the best quality of cabinets with a wide variety of design options and pricing to fit any budget. If your kitchen isn't becoming to you, you should be coming to us. Now, 2 locations to serve you.
Your home's decor should be a personal reflection of you, only it doesn't always turn out the way we imagine. That's where design services come in, turning your vision into reality. Once again, Kathy Smith joins me in this week's Inspired Living. Looking around, Kathy, you can't help but notice that it's all the little design features that really set this place apart.
It always is, yeah. And that's why it's very important to have a designer if you so choose. Reason being is that a lot of people know what their own taste is. They know what they have a vision of what they want, but there are the little touches that they don't think about, or they would have to go to multiple stores searching for. A designer can go into catalogs and special order things just that are perfect. This chandelier above us has the waves that Janet had mentioned before, mimicking the beach. And that kind of little subtle touch like that makes a whole room, as does the chandelier that is in the dining room. And those are the things that a designer can bring to the table for our customers. And it's just creates a whole new way of showing off what you want to say to your guests when they come into your home.
It's very individual, and even down to some of the small design details that you can use for lighting or to showcase a certain space. And I understand that you actually will go out and create those for your customers.
We do. What our designers will do is they can do built-ins, they can do niches, they can do special lighting, and all of those things add so much to a room and make our customers feel special, you know, because that's exactly what they walk in and they say, that's exactly what I wanted, but I didn't know where to find it.
Right down to the colors too, because that's always tricky, because when you see a color in natural light, it sometimes doesn't look the way it did on a paint chip.
Honestly, a neutral room like Janet created here is the hardest room to do, because every single neutral casts different colors. Some cast grays, some cast greens, some cast gold. So you have to get all the neutrals the same, and it's very difficult. It sounds like it would be an easy thing, but it really isn't. It's probably the hardest.
But it's all those little tiny details that add up and give us the beautiful living space that we all want to enjoy. Are you stuck in a gym rut doing the same routine day after day? It can get a bit stale. The solution for many of us is to change up the activity, but a group of local fitness buffs are doing one better, taking their workout on the road. For those seeking more of an adventure, this may be just your thing. A local fitness trainer is running a military-style boot camp in the wilds of Corian State Historic Site. The workout is pretty grueling, as our Daily News feature reporter Shelby Reynolds found out. It featured the usual running and calisthenics, but in an oh-so-cool setting.
What was cool about this class was because it was on this historic site, and they say it's haunted, so it was kind of a fun, like, maybe, ghosts are watching over us or something. But no, it's a beautiful site. There's plenty of historic structures, and the grounds there are beautiful. So just something nice to look at while you're also just like sweating.
The boot camp is held 3 times a week at Corian. You can find out more details in Shelby's story in the Naples Daily News. And if you'd like to sample more interesting workouts without breaking a sweat, Shelby is kickstarting a new weekly column.
I've realized that there are so many workout classes out there, so many different kinds of workouts, and it's really hard to navigate which ones are good for you, which ones are going to get the kind of workout you're looking for. So I've decided to try them myself and let you know what to expect. So you can find those about every Tuesday in the Neapolitan section of the Naples Daily News, and it's called Meet Me at the Gym.
On that note, we'll wrap up this edition of Behind the Headlines. Thank you for joining us. You can always catch up on past shows by logging on to naplesnews.com. On the left-hand side under Quick Links, select Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Osher. See you back here next week.